Hey, it's Dr. Ty from the Black Girl Doctor. I am recording this video for you, my community, because I really want to talk to you about the importance of making a good decision when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine and deciding whether or not you're going to get it. So I thought it was really important that I share from a psychological perspective, what does it look like to make a good decision? I will highlight, I'm a psychologist and not a medical doctor, so I'm not giving you medical advice right now. I am talking to you though about how you ensure that you are making a good decision for yourself about this vaccine. So I'm going to start by talking about what is a good versus a bad decision, and then I'm going to shift into how do we apply that information to deciding whether or not to get the vaccine. So, really simple, good versus bad decisions for our lives in general. And you can use this to pretty much any circumstance. When you have to make a big decision, you want to make a good decision. And I want to explain what I mean about a good decision versus a bad decision. So, generally in life, we have goals. We have something that we're working towards. In this community, we are centered around being healthy and whole and having an abundance of love, money, and happiness. So that is the goal here. We are all working towards being healthy and whole and having lots of love, money, and happiness. So this is us on our little path to this amazing place of healthy, wholeness, love, money, happiness. A good decision is one that brings you closer to that goal, right? A bad decision is one that actually veers you off track and takes you further away in any sort of direction, but it moves you away from this goal over here. So, really simple. When you're making a big decision, you want to ask yourself, is this something that's going to bring me closer to my goal, or is this something that's going to move me further away? So, when we apply this to COVID, what I've seen mostly is most people making decisions about whether or not to get it based pretty much on their feelings and their instincts. And so, whether you feel, some people have this immediate reaction of, oh, hell no, I'm not getting that and putting that in my body. And then some people are having the reaction, thank God, I'm glad there's a vaccine. I'm definitely putting that in my body. And kind of going off of that initial reaction and just kind of sticking with one trajectory, whether that's to get it or not get it. It's like I felt good about it or I felt bad or concerned. And so that's how I made the decision. Now, we make a lot of decisions every day, and a lot of the times we make decisions based solely on how we feel. So you get up in the morning, you decide how you feel, what you want to wear, and you pick out an outfit. You decide, whether you want to take a shower or bath, and that's how you make that decision. And that's fine for those decisions that don't have long-term or very significant consequences in your life. But when it comes to something that could save your life, that could alter your life or alter your trajectory in terms of veering you off path from your ultimate goal, making decisions based on how you feel about it is actually a really bad choice. Um, Something that I reiterate all of the time in the work that I do in therapy is that feelings are not facts. And if you take nothing away from this video, I want you to remember that feelings are not facts, and it is not a good foundation or a basis on how to make decisions. And so I don't want to downplay feelings because feelings are very important. We've actually been talking a lot about feelings for, since the beginning of the year and how important it is to be attuned to your feelings and to be able to identify them. But our feelings are emotions that come up in our body, and they're triggered by all sorts of things. So they're triggered by all of our past experiences. They're triggered by trauma. They're triggered by successes and joys. They're triggered by stories that have been passed down to us from our ancestors. They are triggered by what we take in from the media. They are triggered by our wildest fantasies and our greatest fears about the world. All of those things sit with us and are housed within our body. And when we face situations, when we come into situations, um, our feelings can be triggered by any of that stuff coming up in us. And so while it's important and you want to be attuned to them by themselves are actually not based in facts necessarily, right? And we do this all of the time. So I think we just don't think about it. So for example, A lot of the times you can think about like it's tax season. So how do you feel about paying taxes? I don't know about you, but I feel very strongly that I should not have to pay the government as much money as they require from me every year. I feel it's ridiculous and it makes me a little bit angry, right? But I don't make a decision about whether or not to pay my taxes based on how I feel about it, because I actually walk through all the consequences, right? And I walk through all of the facts. What happens if I do? What happens if I don't? And I make a conscious decision to do the thing that is bringing me closer to my ultimate goal to be healthy and whole and have more money, love, and happiness, right? And that decision based on taxes is to pay my taxes. Okay. Think about the same thing when you choose, what you're going to eat, or, whether or not you're going to exercise your body. A lot of people don't feel like eating the healthier things. They don't feel like exercising a lot of the times. But you don't just follow whatever you feel in the moment, because you know that that may or may not be the thing that brings you closer to your goal. So you process and you think, okay, I might not feel like doing this, but I factually know doing this will get me closer to my goal of being healthy and whole and having more love, money, and happiness, right? And so when you think about what comes up for you with this COVID vaccine, I want you to take the same approach. Whatever you feel instinctually, that's fine, but that is not where you stop in terms of your decision making. You have to think about what you feel, and then you need to decide, okay, what are the facts that I have? What information do I know that is going to help me determine which decision, to get it or not to get it, is going to get me closer to my ultimate goal of being healthy and whole with more love, money, and happiness, right? And for a lot of us, sometimes that means I don't have enough information, right? What comes up with COVID, what I'm seeing come up with this vaccine stuff, is that because there's a lack of information, we are just defaulting to relying on our feelings. And I want to tell you right now that is not what you want to do. It's more work to take a different path, but because this decision is so important, what you want to do is actually pause and get whatever information you need to get, so you know factually what decision is going to bring you closer to being healthy and whole and having more love, money, and happiness, right? Um, Everybody is different, and so you want to consult with your doctor. You want to do, your own research. You want to read things. I suggest you listen to Black medical doctors. There are tons of doctors posting information online and just educating the community about the vaccines, the different types of vaccines, what they do, how they work in our body, potential side effects. And that is the information that you want to absorb, so that you can make the best decision for you. So you can make a good decision. And remember, a good decision is one that brings you closer to the goal and doesn't veer you off track. What terrifies me is that, with this default to just relying on our feelings, we are going to be making decisions that take us away from the ultimate goal. And that is not what I want for this community. Below this video, I'm sharing some links to some resources that I have found particularly helpful in making my own decision and educating myself so I can get the facts I need to make a good decision for myself. One is a PBS video that really explains what's in the vaccine, and it also talks about the timeline and how the vaccine was created in this short time period. Another is a link to a Black doctor's IG live page. Dr. Drummond has been posting lots of videos on a regular basis that really explains the science behind viruses and how they replicate in our bodies to help you understand what it is that you're doing. I think something that's really important is that he talks about, the vaccine doesn't make the virus, repel from your body, but that if you get the virus, he explains very well what happens when you get infected with it if you've been vaccinated. Um, BlackDoctor.org has been hosting town halls in collaboration with some of the top Black medical schools and leaders, Black doctors. I posted a particular one that talks specifically to Black women and our health and our role in protecting our community from this virus. And then there's a shorter video with Kamal Bell, who interviewed a panel of Black doctors who are answering common questions about the vaccine. And then, of course, a link to the CDC website. So you have some factual data as well. I hope you will do your research and reject the impulse or the urge to make a decision about whether or not to get the vaccine, whether it's to get it or not to get it. You shouldn't be making that decision based solely on how you feel. You should be basing that decision on evidence and factual data, and then aligning that with what is more likely to get you closer to your goal of being healthy and whole and having more love, money, and happiness. My agenda for all of us is to keep us alive and to keep us well and thriving and to protect the community. In case you are wondering, and yes, I have done this research for myself. The decision I have made is to get the vaccine, and I will be sharing photos of me doing that once I get my shots. All right, that's all for now, and I will be in touch soon.